afternoon and welcome to Tribune News on Q. I'm Patricia Ramirez bringing you the latest updates on the ICC case involving former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is facing a pre-trial hearing at the International Criminal Court in The Hague over alleged crimes against humanity linked to his controversial war on drugs. Looking back, President Bongbong Marcos Jr. held a press conference on the same day Duterte was arrested under ICC proceedings.
This evening, the plane carrying former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte took off at 11:03 p.m. this evening and exited Philippine airspace. The plane is en route to The Hague in the Netherlands, allowing the former president to face charges of crimes against humanity in relation to his bloody war on drugs. The former president was earlier placed in government custody at Villamor Air Base after his common law wife, Hanilet Avancenia, and members of his entourage arrived at 9:20 this morning from Hong Kong on Cathay Pacific flight number CX-907. Mr. Duterte was arrested in compliance with our commitments to Interpol. Hours before his arrival, Interpol Manila received an official copy of the ICC warrant. This prompted the Prosecutor General of the Department of Justice to serve the warrant. Interpol asked for help and we obliged because we have commitments to the Interpol which we have to fulfill. If we don't do that, they will no longer help us with other cases involving Filipino fugitives abroad. This is what the international community expects of us as the leader of a democratic country that is part of the community of nations. So I'm sure that the details that surround this what has happened today are familiar to you. I just wanted to make very, very clear and to give you the facts from the departure of former President Duterte from the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
But before we get into the details of the upcoming hearing, let's take a look back at how this case began.
Former President Duterte was arrested through a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court on charges of crimes against humanity. Here's a wrap-up of what transpired. On March 7, 2025, Duterte departed for Hong Kong with his family and close associates and was spotted at Lee Theatre Plaza the next day. On March 9, he attended a Thanksgiving to PRRD with OFWs event in Hong Kong addressing the ICC arrest warrant rumors. On March 10, the Philippine government confirmed the ICC's warrant and raised security with the PNP on heightened alert for his return to Manila. On March 11, Duterte was arrested by the PNP at Naiya, where he was served the ICC warrant. Malacanang confirmed his arrest, and Duterte underwent medical checks before being brought to The Hague that evening. Former President Duterte arrived in the Netherlands on Thursday for his expected handover to the International Criminal Court, following his arrest on murder charges linked to his war on drugs. Upon arrival, he was given a room and medical attention to address his condition. Meanwhile, his daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, traveled to The Hague on the same day to assist him. Davao Representative Paulo Duterte also sought travel clearance on Tuesday night, allowing him to fly to the Netherlands and Japan from March 12 to April 15, which was approved by House Secretary General Reginald Velasco on Wednesday. Attorney Harry Roque and Senator Robin Padilla also traveled to The Hague, accompanying Vice President Sara Duterte and visiting FPRRD. The pre-trial of the case against former President Duterte at the ICC started on Friday
Agreement.
night.
The ICC has opposed ex-President Rodrigo Duterte's request for interim release ahead of his September 23 pre-trial hearing. Prosecutor Mama Mandiay Niang warned Duterte might flee, citing his resistance to arrest and his family's claims of kidnapping. The prosecution fears Duterte's political influence could obstruct justice and noted his alleged vow to resume killings. Duterte, who is 80, remains in The Hague facing crimes against humanity over drug war killings from 2011 to 2019.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte's lawyer, Nicholas Kaufman, called the International Criminal Court's decision to deny Duterte's appeal for interim release erroneous. Kaufman said the defense has filed a notice of appeal arguing that the court failed to give proper weight to key considerations. The ICC earlier ruled that Duterte remains a flight risk. The decision also cited public remarks by Vice President Sara Duterte about breaking her father out, which reportedly influenced the court's ruling.
Now, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte has signed a waiver to skip his scheduled appearance before the International Criminal Court on the 28th of November, where judges will rule on his appeal for interim release. In a signed document, Duterte formally waived his right to attend the session and authorized his legal team to represent him and hear the judgment on his appeal against the ICC pre-trial chamber's decision. The hearing will proceed before the appeals chamber, which is reviewing his bid for temporary release, while proceedings on his crimes against humanity allegations continue.
Now, the International Criminal Court Appeals Chamber unanimously denies former President Rodrigo Duterte's petition for an interim release, upholding a previous ruling by the Pre-Trial Chamber 1 that declared the 80-year-old ex-leader a flight risk. This indicates that Duterte will remain in ICC detention in The Hague, Netherlands, pending the confirmation of his murder charges likely to be rescheduled in January. Judge Luz del Carmen Ibanez rules that the defense fell short in substantiating the need for Duterte's release and that the findings of the pre-trial chamber declaring Duterte a flight risk were sufficiently established.
Former President
Now, the 4-day confirmation of charges hearing will determine whether there is enough evidence to proceed to a full trial. Duterte, 80, will not attend after judges granted his request to waive his appearance despite ruling that he is fit to participate. ICC prosecutors have filed 3 counts of crimes against humanity, accusing Duterte of involvement in at least 76 murders between 2013 and 2018 from his time as Davao City Mayor to his presidency. The killings were allegedly carried out during anti-drug operations targeting both high-value suspects and lower-level users. Duterte has denied the charges. His lawyer maintains there was no policy to murder suspects and no conspiracy within his administration. Following the hearing, judges have 60 days to decide whether the case will move to trial. The hearing begins on Monday, 23 February 2026 at 10 a.m. in the Netherlands. Meanwhile, it will be 5 p.m. Manila time. It will continue on 24 February and from 26 to 27 February. That's all for now. Join us again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. You can also catch our special coverage of the ICC pre-trial hearing of former President Rodrigo Duterte at 5 p.m. only here on Daily Tribune Facebook page, Daily Tribune PH on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok. Once again, I'm Patricia Ramirez, and this has been Tribune News on Cue.